I just remember in May being like, okay, I can make a choice now to by December feel like I'm confused and still spinning my wheels and in more debt and not have to show for it what I want, or I can
Mhm.
really feel like I'm ending the year super solid and like meet these goals that I've set out to do. And like I feel exactly that way. So like to have that is the biggest gift. And I just feel like the last few Christmases have just felt like really good. And like this big gift of just life has been given to me.
Mm. Mm.
Such a good feeling.
Yes, yes. And you, I mean, it's all credit to you, right? And so, known each other for about 5 or 6 months. It feels like a lifetime has happened in that amount of time. So, I do want to see if we can like teleport ourselves back to where you were before we connected and what your situation was around having some hopes to be a coach and some ideas about how to get there. But yeah, where were you at 5 or 6 months ago, Caitlin?
Yeah. So I was doing wellness coaching. I was working solely for a nonprofit at the time. And had, it was a contract position. So as many clients as I had, that was the money that I was making. I was also in a sales position, which was, I saw it coming into my private practice of coaching, what I was doing in that sales position. It was a health device, a medical device that I still believe is really powerful and an amazing tool. But I was really trying to earn money essentially because I felt like once I had the money, everything else I would figure out. And then I remember we had our call. I took the call from my car. I was going around trying to sell this device because that's really how I made money doing it. And I remember that day feeling especially defeated. Just like I had been doing it for a little over a year. And mind you, I was pregnant when I started and I had the baby. So there was a little bit of a break in between that time. But I just really hadn't seen the fruits of my labor. And it also just really felt like I wasn't aligned, but I wasn't really sure how to get myself aligned because I had this fixation on I need to be earning money. Like money was, I think, what I used as the driving value towards letting myself make all these other decisions. And I think that's just conditioning because I left a job that was really, I was very financially secure. I was making really good money. And I just thought that that was going to be what success meant, right? When I made this amount of money, I was
Mm.
successful. And so I just remember when we met, I had this big like aha moment of so like your whole I quit my teaching job, my consulting job, I think 2 years prior. And my whole purpose of doing that, my why for doing that was to really feel like I was using the talents that I was given in the way that felt sustainable. And I was really out of alignment with that because yes, I was using talents I had given in a bit of a different way, but I wasn't in alignment because I was running myself back into the ground and finding myself back in burnout, doing the things that weren't bringing me true fulfillment, right? The sales job is not really why I wanted to sell that device. I really loved what it was bringing to these doctors' clinics and the data it was giving their patients, and the way I was seeing it with my own clients and the transformations they were having in their health. But again, going back to like the bigger picture, it's like, I know that there's a way that I can make this sustainable and help people and still feel like I can fill my cup. Um,
Mhm.
you know,
Mhm.
as you know, I had the other business Thread, which was doing incredible. It's only in its second year, and this year we've tripled our revenue from last year. And I
Wow.
truly attest a lot of that to being in this program and having the mindsets around transformation. I think that has been like a huge value that's surfaced
Mhm.
for me here. And
Mhm.
um, just the idea that money will come. And sometimes it's okay to put that in a different order in order to get to the bigger picture. Like, I think we're all
Yeah.
working towards some sort of a fulfillment, right? And when we're out of alignment with that, money feels like this pressure, right? Like a pressure
Mm-hmm.
cooker. And when we're
Mm-hmm.
in alignment, money feels like it's already there. At least it does for me. I
Love
feel like
it.
I need to worry about it because it will be
Mm-hmm.
there. Because I'm doing all the right things in this container. So
Wow. Well, that's a huge shift. When you say at first I thought I need to get the money and then I'll figure everything out. As a health coach, I'm sure it's like when people say, I'll go to the gym after I've lost 10 pounds, right? It's like, okay, well, you were in a position where you had all these moving pieces, you had your other company, you had your machine, you had some like hourly health coaching clients, but yeah, all those moving pieces, it can feel easy to like you're just always waiting for something. And so for you, what do you feel like helped you make the decision? I want to hear like what hesitations you had about investing and all of that, but what do you think had you at the place to be like, okay, my original plan of waiting for the money to fall out of the sky didn't happen, so I'm going to choose something different. What made you end up saying yes to investing in your coaching business and working with us?
yeah. Well, I think primarily it was this realization that I have to make this work because it had been 2 years since I removed myself from that job that had me very financially secure. And I had seen bursts of money. I think a lot of health coaches can resonate with this. It's like you see that big pop and you're like, oh my gosh, like what I'm doing must have, it's the first time you get it. So it's like, oh, I must have done something right. But then it didn't sustain that way. And
Mm-hmm.
so I was like, I have to figure out how to make this sustainable. And what you guys came to me with was we're going to teach you a system that you can use over and over and over, even as you evolve as a coach, as a practitioner, as a whatever I'm going to be. And to me, that was, I think, the most appealing factor. And just the trust I had in you all throughout the process. You were the only person that didn't bombard me in my LinkedIn messages. Once you gave me the information, you let me sit with it. You answered questions thoroughly. I connected with other people who had already been through your program, who did work similar to me, and they just had raving things to say about you and your team. And I'm huge on people and authenticity and relationships. So for me, like I'm very much a person who makes decisions not just logically anymore, but with my
Mm-hmm.
physical body and how I feel about things. And I truly had this knowing that this was the right move. So just the trust, huge amounts of trust, surrender, which I had been through
Mm-hmm.
before because my own journey, my own personal story took me through that. So I knew like sometimes you just have to lean in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm lucky to have that perspective because I can see not being able to see that or feel that and have that can be
Yeah.
limiting in allowing you to make a decision so big like this.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, with any big decision, I love how you felt like this is the right move for me, but I'm sure because I know you also had to think about it. So, do you remember some of your doubts or hesitations or fears about working with us? What were some
Yeah.
of those?
Well,
Yeah.
my number one fear was at first telling my husband because, you know, I had been trying so many things over the last few years. And now I was about to go to him and say, I'm about to pay this much for coaches who are going to help me make sense of what I'm doing and turn it into something sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And so sharing that with somebody who shares finances with me and knowing like this is, big financial investment for us. I guess
Mm-hmm.
luckily he had just made one of his own, so kind of felt okay, but still. Um, and being able to bet on yourself that
Mm-hmm.
much because I know you guys are not responsible for my success here. Like I'm ultimately the one that has to leave and go, I gave this everything and I'm successful because of it, or I'm not successful because of it. So it's like willing to bet on yourself. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but so, I mean, the fear of doing that is huge, right? Because you don't know if you're going to be successful. Really, you don't. I didn't even have a program outlined when I came here. I had, this is what I've done in the past. This is the success I've seen. How do I turn this into something? So not having a clear vision, which for me as a projector is very scary and not, financially, like knowing
Yeah.
if it was going to pay off, like those were
Yeah.
two fears.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that clear vision piece, I want to have you say a little bit more about? Because I'm remembering now too, you had the medical machine, and when we first started working together, you were thinking locally, right? That your clients would be in your local area. You were literally in your car driving around trying to find these clients, trying to make these deals. And you were someone who was like, we were also creating the fulfillment side of things, because coaches always think, okay, my only problem is that I need leads. But then how are you going to fulfill on it? And as you know, as CEOs, our job is actually to be problem solvers. And so you solved a lot of problems around, okay, who is my ideal target? Like, we have even helped you build your program. But if we go back to those like days driving around, you were still charging hourly for coaching and sessions, right?
Mhm.
Okay. And so where are you at now? Speaking about that vision and that program, um, you've gone away from hourly, and where are you at now?
Yeah. So I actually just told a client I saw this morning that this is, the last time we're going to be doing one-on-one sessions, because I've seen the benefit of pairing these kind of clinical one-on-one 1 hour sessions doing the therapy that I practice in combination with what I offer virtually. And I was just really afraid that if I took the leap to say, this is how I do business, that I would be faced with rejection, because I know a lot of the in-person clients I see really just like to come for that solo therapy. But when I
Mm-hmm.
think about like that big vision and sustainability that I was able to get really clear on here in this program, that has put me to a place of what I have to offer has to be transformational in nature, because that's what I value and that's like what I want to see my clients have. Right. So I think ultimately just being able to look at it from a different perspective of, does one-on-one really make a difference? Like, I know for me, when I go and get a massage once every 4 months, it's much different than if I'm getting a regular massage and I'm engaged in coaching of my own, or and I'm doing regular yoga and I'm doing all the other things. And that's really what I want to have my clients see, is like, it's not just one thing. Life is
Mm-hmm.
about a lot of different practices that you consistently stick to and adapt to fit the season of life that you're in. And I couldn't do that doing one-on-one sessions, but I didn't realize that at the time, because one-on-one was, again, ka-ching, 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 bringing in the money. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it takes longer to foster a client who's willing to do a 3 month program, or
Mm-hmm.
have to put through a funnel and talk to them at different stages to see, gauge whether this is something that they're looking to do, because
Mm-hmm.
truthfully, this is what I am good at. And I was holding myself back by only offering this one-on-one session, when really I know what they need is something bigger, and what I'm able to deliver fits that.
Yeah. Yes, the metamorphosis from service provider to solution provider. And I know we've had a lot of conversations around, okay, you have all of these services and tools and things in your toolkit, but what is that like dream outcome? Because, personal trainers is an easy example to use, much like, yoga classes or massage, where it's like, okay, they can feel good for the hour that they're with me, but how do I ensure that they go out into the world and they make lasting change? That is the big shift. It's not just about, yes, you can charge more money, a lot more money, right? And you can remove yourself from exchanging time for money to give yourself more freedom. Love those side effects. But you're someone who I really seen, put a lot of care and attention into the integrity of your program. And that means you're not just, literally putting your hands in the sand and doing the work for them for an hour just so they feel good, but you've put a lot of intention into now, yeah, your 3 month container that is focused more on the outcome, right? Actually healing those root causes, actually shifting the numbers that this medical machine is going to measure, not just getting a dose of hopium, like, okay, cool, now I'm off to go back to my old bad habits.
Yeah.
So congrats on tying that loop, right? Closing that loop on the one-on-one folks. And so for where you're at right now, you're moving into this high ticket space. So talk to us, you mentioned it meant an up level around fulfillment, meant an up level around the sales process, how you educate people on this. But if you think back to May and just what your life was like versus now, again, you were a service provider, now you're a solution provider. What are some of those, like the benefits of having done that metamorphosis for you personally?
Yeah. I think I have opened up so much space for myself to continue to grow as a coach. I think if I were to have stuck with what I was doing before, I don't know where I would have fit in, further training or whatever I'm going to do to continue to become a better coach for my clients, because it would have been all about just getting clients. Now I
Mm.
can really invest in the things that I want to learn more about to continue my own healing and my own journey, which I find the more you do that, the better of a coach you are, because you're actually practicing what you preach. Um,
Mhm.
and that is huge. That to me, I come from the education world. So it's all about, well, I guess if you're going to learn something new, it's going to happen at night. And because that's the only time you have. But this freedom of being able to have such a schedule that allows for flexibility, because I'm seeing people in this space not having to come in my office for multiple hours, being stretched thin. I'm getting 1 hour with them a week, and it's a highly effective, powerful, transformative hour. And that
Mhm.
feels good for, I think, both of us. And it also fuels me to just continue to know what other tools can I bring into this space to continue to support these transformations. And I love that. I mean, I think that I'm sure you can tell, like, lights me up. I'm so excited about what I'm going to get to do in 2025, because I now am able to just plug people into this program that I've developed with
Yep.
integrity, like you mentioned, and with tools and with all the things that I know are going to lead them to that transformation. And who knows what's next? I'm just really excited.
Yes, yes. And again, I love how new problems, right? Like, okay, people are coming into the program. I have this humming system, and now you're really back in your zone of genius. There was the building phase of learning and some of the discomfort of going from the caterpillar who has the hourly offer through the metamorphosis to now, be the butterfly who isn't so focused on where's that next dollar coming from? Where's that next client going to fall out of the sky from? But actually looking at your program and investing in other programs for yourself to actually be a coach and not just try to be an internet marketer or a door-to-door salesman, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So what would you tell someone who's like watching this right now and wondering like, oh, am I ready to metamorphosize? What advice would you either, give yourself 6 months ago or someone else who's in the hesitation phase right now?
Yeah. Um, I think really it's about, and I say this is so funny because I say this in every coaching session, multiple times even. It's about thinking what your future self is going to thank you for. Like how I told you at the beginning of this call, when I met you in May, I was asking myself, like, well, how do I want to feel in December? Right. And I didn't want to be continuing to do what I was doing without seeing the fruit, because I was putting just as much hope into that, honestly, as I put hope into that this would work. But I knew that taking a chance was necessary. I had played it really small. I had made really small investments here and there, and my income was small as a result. And now I've made a bigger investment, and my income is grown. It's big, just like the investment I made. And so just know, like, I think the advice would be, how they say what you put in is what you get out. Well, this is a big investment of your time, effort, and energy, and it's also a big outcome. And it's worth it. Um, Fear is normal. Fear is an emotion that's going to come up because we're human and this is unknown. But I think, the beauty of your program, Hannah, is that your clients can ask people like me and other people, like people I asked before I came into this program, about their success. And it happens here because what you guys have is really special and not like anything else that I've ever seen, that I've ever even heard about. I know lots of other people, other health coaches who are in coaching programs, and I listen to what they do and what they're being taught, and it all sounds amazing, but it's not what we have here. And so, yeah, just know, like, what you're going to do here will be incredible and special and different, and will make you a better coach. You're doing this to get more clients, but along the way, I think it really makes you a better coach as well.
I love that. And yeah, I think that's great advice because to your point, people, there are lots of courses and shiny objects and internet gurus that, have offers for coaches like you, and to be able to sift and sort through the real ones, to your point. I think that's perfect advice. I'm curious now, though, because of the future self advice that you gave. What are you dreaming up for the next 6 months? Now knowing that, okay, finding clients isn't the problem, you've created some time and financial freedom for yourself. Have you thought about where you go next, or how you continue to leverage this into your next season?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one thing I've learned here is to just be at the phase you're at and get excellent at that. So, I think the next 6 months look for me like continuing to put people in this program and learn from doing that, right? To learn how to morph this into, okay, so how can I now maybe see a group or, you know, alter my path to create even more time, because ultimately that's what we all need at the end of the day, more time to do more things.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also see being able to, I mentioned I have a second business, pour much more into that business to help that grow, which is perfect timing because January to May is the second half of the year. And it's a great time to be in.
Schools.
And
Mm-hmm.
that is also a business that I want to not be in, but to be overseeing. And so I think the
Yes.
next 6 months look like exploring how to do that with that business. Yeah.
Sounds like the seat of a CEO to me. And I'm just so proud of you for showing up to the grad school phase, right? We always talk about how this is, yeah, like you said, the investment of time, energy, and resources to show up, like learn this new skill set, make that metamorphosis from service provider to solution provider. But then I love how you're already seeing how not only does that base of abundance, like having a humming lead generation system, allow you to work on other projects, be multi-passionate, launch another group, but you know that it comes from a place of abundance now and not a place of like, let me find that next dollar, scarcity, scurrying around town. That's what we love to see. And that's a true CEO, right? Having systems in place so that the dream life and the real life go together and it isn't as overwhelming or coming from a place of scarcity. So cheers to that base of abundance as a CEO.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to share this. I know you will help other folks who know that they have something big. You have something in you. You've done all of these things yourself. You've tried to get it out of you in some way, but there's still that like sleeping giant that you want to put out in a way that people actually understand and will pay you for. So
Mhm.
great
Absolutely.
work.
Yeah. Thank you.